I get calls from schools,
Right.
particular heads of schools, proprietors, and so on, and they have autistic children, and they don't feel comfortable because that
Right.
might not be their specialty.
Right.
So how do you partner with schools where you can now accept children that they themselves, by the nature of their own expertise, cannot handle?
Okay, so we offer teacher training and shadow teacher training, meaning we train qualified individuals or teachers to work with kids on the spectrum. Meaning, a shadow teacher, you come with the kid and you assist where the teacher is not able to read. You know, we have a lot of adults coming up now saying, oh, I think I might be autistic. I think I might have ADHD, like you were saying, special needs. It was an umbrella, but we have these little components now that sort of like define what it is and the sort of assistance you can get for it.
Good afternoon, Athi.
Good afternoon, Anis.
First of all, thank you very much for allowing us to come to your school. I had a conversation with Tifa. She was traveling,
Right.
but she said the school is in good hands. So I can come anytime I like.
Yes.
And then I speak to you.
Right.
You know, and we're going to be talking about autism. And I will start off by saying this. I went to a school of education in the 1970s. We studied children with special needs, but autism wasn't part of it. But since I've been back, I have a training establishment where we train teachers.
Right.
And the question of autism comes up all the time. And I don't want to sound like I'm an expert in it, you know, because people depend on you for the things that you say.
Right.
So for starters, what is autism, by the way?
Okay, so autism, we look at it as a spectrum. So it's a neurodiverse condition where individuals experience the world differently from us. So you'll see kids who are excellent in one thing, but they struggle with another thing. So that's the spectrum part of it. So we look at things like struggling with social communication. They have sensory issues and just social kind of issues. So the spectrum part of it means that you might be good academically, you might excel at puzzles, but you struggle to communicate or you struggle to verbalize. Or on the contrary, you're very good at communication, but academically you struggle. So it differs from one kid to another, from one adult to another. And, you know, we have a lot of adults coming up now saying, oh, I think I might be autistic. I think I might have ADHD, like you were saying, special needs. It was an umbrella, but we have these little components now that sort of like define what it is and the sort of assistance you can get for it.
Okay, when we talk about a spectrum, we are talking about a range, is it?
Exactly.
So what will be one extreme range and what will be the other extreme range?
Okay, so extreme range 1 to 3. So the most extreme range would be a individual or a kid who needs full support. So they lack with independence, things like advocating for themselves, things like self-care. They struggle with those, they struggle to communicate. But the other side of the spectrum would be one, meaning they have autism, but they're able to function as an individual independently in society. They can go to school, they can have a job, they can interact with individuals. But like Jeffa always says, they'll always have like the little quirks. There'll always be something that you're like, okay, baby. You also have like a lot of billionaires and millionaires coming out saying, oh, I think I have autism. A lot of writers as well that have come up saying that. But definitely they specialize in what they do and they're very good at that. So, yeah.
You know, in the work that I do, I get calls from schools,
Right.
particular heads of schools, proprietors, and so on. And they have autistic children, and they don't feel comfortable because that
Right.
might not be their specialty.
Right.
So how do you partner with schools where you can now accept children that they themselves, by the nature of their own expertise, cannot handle?
Okay, so we offer teacher training and shadow teacher training, meaning we train qualified individuals or teachers to work with kids on the spectrum. Meaning, a shadow teacher, you come with the kid and you assist where the teacher is not able to reach. So the idea is that the teacher will always be the main person in the class, but the shadow teacher will sort of specialize instructions, specialize behaviors, how to modify them for the kid within the classroom. So we offer that training. And we ourselves as the therapists, we also go to schools with kids. We help them out similar to what a shadow teacher will look like. And we also do therapy within the schools. So it's very important that schools are aware and they're accepting. But certain environments our kids cannot be in. So in being accepting, schools need to be willing to modify the environment or have a space for a kid on the spectrum where if they need to regulate themselves, if they need to learn in a different environment, they can cater for that.
Mm-hmm. So let's say if an autistic child is brought to you, after a little bit of exposure with you and treatment and so on, can they go back and be mainstreamed in the schools where they came from?
Yes, definitely. And that's the idea. The idea is that we don't want our kids to be in therapy forever, right? We want to do what we can and then send them off into the world. So the idea is to offer the training, offer the therapy. If need be, we go into schools with them, train the teachers and let the kid adjust in the school, and then we remove ourselves. So the idea is always independence.
Very good. I'm beginning to understand that the training that you have has to be very specialized.
Yes.
I've been in education all my adult life, but I doubt very much that I can handle the situation that you have. The question I have for you is that how do you prepare for this profession? Personally?
Personally, as an individual?
Yes, please.
I'm not sure if I understand you, but as an individual, I just take on other hobbies to keep myself in a state of zen. I don't know if I'm understanding you.
Right. Did you have to, prepare education-wise?
Right. Okay, so I studied psychology in university. I'm sure you know Rhodes.
Where?
Rhodes University in South Africa.
Not really.
Okay, so I did psychology, and then afterwards you do ABA training.
ABA training?
Yes, Applied Behavior Analysis.
Applied Behavior Analysis. ABA training. Okay.
Yes, you get your ABA training, and that is to train you in how to work with individuals with autism using our specialized methodology, which would be the ABA. So it's basically just behavior training.
Good. Now, how do we begin to prepare society?
Right.
To begin to understand what autism is.
Right.
Because we are looking at the bigger picture now.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, there was nothing like special ed, much less to identify autism as a particular condition.
Right.
How do we get society to begin to understand that as we go about our daily business, they are young people, they are children, they are young adults, and they are older people who might have autism and not even know it. How do we prepare society for all this?
So one of the things we always advocate for is early intervention, starting early. The younger parents are starting to do that a lot more, where if they see something that perhaps they don't understand, they might read up on it, and there's a lot of information on the internet, but you will bump into something that will alert you that, okay, my child is not speaking, my child is not walking, my child is not doing what I've seen other children do at this age. So early intervention is definitely number one. And another thing with the kids who are already diagnosed, another thing we always advocate for is reaching high, not limiting the kids that, okay, they have autism, let's just keep them here. We always want them to be independent. We always want our kids to advocate for themselves. We always want them to have a career path. And a good place to start is when an individual is good at something, just run with that. If they're good at writing, if they're good at music, that's probably a trade they might want to pursue. So just understanding that, okay, they might have like a specific focus they might like, and we can just go with that.
You know, when you mentioned what natural aptitudes they might have regardless of autism, I know this young girl. She must be maybe about 10, 11 and so on.
Right.
She loves music. Let me tell you this. Once she gets on the piano,
Right.
she doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
And I like what you said in the sense that that can be a permanent kind of vocation
For
the
sure.
other person so that they are functional.
For sure.
So that's what you're looking at.
Yes, there's always vocations. There's always a space for people on the spectrum in society. It's just a matter of accepting that, okay, there is a little bit of a difference, but we can all coexist. We can all live together.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, how did the school manage to get the first child? And what I mean is this, once you get a first child, is there a particular testing that you do to locate them on the particular part of the spectrum that they belong, so that you can prepare to meet their needs?
Okay, so typically what happens is they get an assessment from a from a pediatrician, and from
so you get pediatricians involved?
Yes.
Medical doctors?
Yes, so you get your assessment from there, and then from then onwards, our clinical supervisor will do an assessment to sort of give you the certain targets and things we need to work on for that individual. So each individual will have an individualized program where it caters to your specific needs. Because remember, we said it's a spectrum. So whatever you need will not be the same as another child or another adult. So
the other question I have is this. When parents are at home with these kids, what preparation do they have to do, and what kind of help do they need? Are they at home? How do parents prepare themselves to meet these challenges after the kids have been here, because they are not here with you all the time?
Of course,
they have to go back home.
Right.
How do you get parents to prepare to take over what you do here with them?
The first thing is just masking what we do in therapy. So if we're working on communication, potty training, and speech, we sort of need to be doing that at home, because like you said, they're not with us all the time. So if a kid is with us for 4 hours and the rest of the hours they're at home and not doing anything, it's not really beneficial. So practicing what we do in therapy is one of the key things, and within that, just practicing communication. Communication is key. If a kid is struggling to communicate, to verbalize, always seek them to verbalize by pointing, by eye contact. If they have speech, then you get them to sound it out, start with the phonics. So just prioritizing what we do in therapy, communicating with them, and speaking to them like they're a human, you know. Just because a child is not doing X doesn't mean we shouldn't be practicing it at home, because children also learn through imitation. So if you continue doing the same thing over and over again, if there's a routine, they will most likely start following that, and they might thrive from that.
You know, I can imagine parents' apprehensions. For example, can these kids be a danger to themselves sometimes, or to other people?
For sure, for sure. We do get cases where kids are harming themselves as a means of trying to communicate once again. You know, when you're not able to get through and communicate what you want, it can be frustrating. It can be very frustrating. So we do get cases where our kids are self-injurious, harming themselves or others around them, and we try step in and teach them a way to communicate their needs, their wants.
Now, in terms of communication, everybody needs it.
I promise.
Because, you know, a lot of hassle that individuals have with each other, or even siblings, mothers, wives, husbands, and so on. Some of the problem that they have is the communication problem.
For sure.
Because you are saying one thing, they are hearing something altogether different. And they come back at you to attack you. I mean, these are some of the stuff that I teach them. Communication, what I call a paraphrase rule. In other words, if you are not sure what you heard, then get them to repeat it.
Yes, so you actually understand it. Yes.
Because otherwise it can turn into something else.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't know how to thank you.
Thank you so much.
This has been an education forum for me. I've been in education all my life.
Right.
But this is new. And listening to you, I'm getting a feel for what it is that it really means.
Yeah.
And also how we can get parents to know that this establishment exists.
Right.
And to know that they are not alone and so on. So I want to thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
All the best.
All right.
Bye-bye. Abigail, thank you very much. You know, when I spoke with Tifa, and she said, look, I can come here and that I'll be in good hands. Thank you very much, because you received us very, very well. And the question I have for you is this. When was TheraKidz started? When did you start this facility?
TheraKidz was started in 2013. And that
2013, that's about 13 years ago. That's a long time.
Yes. TheraKidz was started in 2013. It was birthed out of a mother's need for more. So our founder, Jifa, she had a son who was on the spectrum. So he got diagnosed in South Africa at the age of 2. And so after that, she decided to bring the treatments over here. And then she got some professionals from South Africa who are today still with us. And they have supported us in creating TheraKidz and building on from there.
Good. The professionals who are here, what is that they do specifically?
Okay, so our clinical director is, like the name says, he's in charge of the clinical bits of the work. So he does the assessments, and then he draws out a program for the child, which is individual. And then the child will sit through therapy sessions based on a number of therapy hours that are recommended. And then the child gets their therapy sessions.
Fantastic. When this school started, what were some of the initial challenges? Because once you start something from scratch, it has to be visionary. And the vision is something that only the person who started it can feel. You know, so what were some of the initial challenges that were met?
So like every pioneering effort, there was a lot of difficulty in getting the trained personnel. So for instance, at the time, there was no institution that was offering that service. And then that's why she had to go to South Africa to go get the service that she needed for her son. So she brought in the trained personnel. They are trained in ABA.
You mentioned ABA. What exactly is it?
So ABA is Applied Behavior Analysis.
Applied Behavior Analysis.
Yes. So
and
it's
that means
behavior science, which means that the sciences that have been researched, like in social sciences, something like classical conditioning, operant conditioning, that were proposed by scientists of old, has been coined into ABA. So out of those concepts, we have coined ABA, and then we've done a lot of research on ABA, and we've seen that it's evidence-based. It's a lot of progress that we've seen from kids. And so it's the most trusted, I would say, form of treatment for...
You know what you're doing to me right now? And I have to go back and also research myself on what ABA is. You know, education never stops. There's something new that's happening. The question I have for you is this. Do parents tend to be in denial of the conditions that they've witnessed their children going through? Or do they have an understanding of the possibilities of autism with their own children or in their own families?
Okay, I would say that yes, parents do have denial sometimes because it's a difficult diagnosis to deal with. And so because of that, sometimes there's a bit of a delay even in seeking help from professionals who may know what to do and how to support the child. So yes, we've seen some parent denial, and that has affected their push for early intervention and therapy for the child.
Now, before parents bring their kids or before they identify autism with their children, what is it that they see that is not, that is different? What is it that they see with their children that is different? What will prompt them to begin to understand that, wait a minute, it's possible that my child has this particular condition or the other?
Okay, so We have developmental milestones. When you're a parent, you look forward to your child doing certain things at certain ages. And so against those developmental milestones that you probably would have heard if you've not had a child before, you can gauge your child and say, you're supposed to be doing this at this age. What's happening? Why are you not doing it? So we see those delays in some of the kids. And that's one prompt for a parent to know that something may be wrong. And then you can go in and get it checked. So maybe your child is not babbling words by the time they are 2 years old, or even younger. Your child is not giving you eye contact by 6 or 8 months. That's a red flag that you should probably go get checked.
Those are the signals.
Yes, those are early signs that help you to know that there's
so
a problem.
for what we're doing now, parents have to begin to be aware of conditions that might border on autism. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Good. And these conditions, repeat them again so that they can have an idea of what it is that they're going through. And I'm imagining a person who's had a child for the first time. It's like, so there's nothing to compare with.
Yeah.
So what would be those signals again? Repeat it so that parents can have an idea of exactly what the condition that they see with their children, what the conditions are.
So like I said, the babbling by 2 years old, your child should be saying words.
Like what? Like ma?
Like mama, water, food.
Okay. So that's babbling.
Attempting those words.
Okay, good. And what else?
Then the eye contact that I mentioned earlier.
That means they have to look at you?
Yes, look at your face.
I see.
So eye contact is a social interaction skill.
That's right.
And one of the deficits that we see in children on the spectrum is that they struggle with social interaction and social communication. So at an early age, your child looking at you when you play maybe a game like peekaboo, it's a good sign for you to know if your child is reaching their milestones. And eye contact is one of those milestones.
Let me tell you, I won't cut you short, but when I teach communication skills, eye contact is number one. Even for people who are getting A's all the way through, because there's also the shyness part of it, that they are not used to. You have to develop your confidence.
Yeah.
If you are not confident and you talk to people, it's like you have to bend your head and that sort of thing. I'm looking at the professional traits that professionals like you have to embody. What are some of those professional traits that you really need to have to be able to do the kind of work that you're doing? In fact, I call it heart power. That look, I've been teaching all my life, but I doubt very much that I have the heart power to raise young people in that particular condition.
Yeah.
So what are the traits that professionals like you need to have besides the academics?
Okay, so in recruiting some of our workers, we look out for young professionals who are graduates. So they should be empathetic and they should have some patience to deal with the cases that we have. We are aware that there's no formal education for ABA in the country. And so once we recruit students that are from university, maybe they've done, they studied psychology, social work, special education, or even just education, we train them in-house and give them the foundational training in ABA. After that, once they've started working, we look at also credentialing our workers so that we are not only providing ABA services, but we are doing it in an ethical way that's internationally recognized.
Okay, so you give them credentials.
Yes.
In others, you've gone through this particular period of training, and we believe that on your own, you understand autism and how you can help people, young people with that. How are you able to establish the credential? For example, is it accepted internationally?
Yes, so the credentials that we have are, so right now we are with the QABA.
How do you spell it?
QABA.
QABA, QABA.
Yes.
So I'm learning from it. I don't know what this is. Good, and what does it entail?
So in receiving your credentials, you need to go through some theory training, which is about 40 hours of theory training. Mind you, you've already done the in-house training with us. And so by the time you're going into that credentialing training, you already have a lot of knowledge about autism and about the theory content. And then after your theory, you take your exam, and then you get your certification to practice as a behavior technician.
On that note, I want to say thank you very, very much. It's an eye-opener. And I hope that we can have this conversation again sometime along the line.
Sure.
Good.
We'll be happy to have you
Thank
again.
you very much.
Thank you too.